Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Barry Cunningham Show. My name is Barry Cunningham. If you don't know me, I'm a real estate investor here in South Florida. And today we're going to talk all about moving from New York City to South Florida. Moving from New York City to Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Miami, Boca, doing whatever you can to get the hell out of New York City. It's been crazy for going on a year now. First, it started with, of course, the Rona. Then it got into the riots, and now it looks like we're going back into a shutdown again due to the Rona up in New York City, the hyped Rona. So if you want to live your life in the open and in free, might be the time for you to move to South Florida. Might be the time for you to just pack up the truck and move to Fort Lauderdale E or Boca E, whatever you want to say, as I play on words with the Beverly Hillbillies. I mean, seriously, folks, this is getting insane. You probably thought it was going to get better, but it's only going to get worse. I guess this is the dark winter they were talking about. Thank God we have a governor like Ron DeSantis down here in Florida who's not succumbing to the hype and the BS. And I do call it BS because my wife and I have driven to the local hospitals. We wanted to see for ourselves. Are people really just crawling into the hospital on the verge of dying, just crawling for their last grasp of breath? No. Emergency rooms are empty, except for, of course, on Friday, Saturday nights when they're normally crowded because people act like idiots. But other than that, no. But, today's video I'm going to share with you, I've got the headset in. We're going to do a narration of another video. And today's video is about having to leave New York, having to get out of the Big Apple because you just can't live life there. And when I say that with a bit of pain. You see, I grew up in Connecticut. I spent a lot of time in New York, especially New York City. Lots of relatives in my dad's family, had plenty of people in New York. I had lots of friends and business associates in New York, all the way over out to Long Island. And I loved New York City. My wife and I, some of our fondest memories are going to see the Red Sox and the Yankees. She's, believe it or not, how opposites attract. She is a diehard Yankee fan, and I am a lifelong Red Sox fan. So you know what October's a big. Hey, matter of fact, here's a picture. I don't know if you guys can see it well, but that's the beautiful wife in Yankee Stadium toasting a beer during one of the Red Sox Yankees series up in New York City. We've always loved it. But if you live in New York right now, you're not going to see the Rockettes Christmas show. Not going to happen. You're not going to see, a nice party on New Year's Eve in Times Square. Not going to happen. You really can't go see the Giants or the Jets play football. Nope, not going to happen. You can't go see a Broadway play. Nope, not going to happen. You can't go to some of your most favorite restaurants. In fact, we just heard that 21 is closing down. Iconic 21 restaurant that has been made famous in movies with Frank Sinatra, been around for 90 plus years, going away. Can't go to Tavern on the Green. Can't do it. Can't go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Can't go see operas. Can't go to Madison Square Garden and see a concert. Or if you happen to want to see the Knicks play, not going to happen. Can't go to Brooklyn and see the, whatever they're called, Nets. Can't go to Long Island and see the Islanders play. Can't happen. And of course you're not going to go see the Yankees. So why would you be in New York? Think about it. New York has a lot of benefits that basically compel people to live there because there's so much to do. There's so much entertainment. There's so much nightlife. There's so much shopping. Without entertainment, shopping, attractions, nightlife, why would you live in New York City? Why at all would you want to stay in New York City? I mean, just think about it. What's the appeal of staying in a city that is essentially a concrete jungle? I don't know. I know that when we've gone up there and we've stayed in our we just love our favorite spot is the DoubleTree Suites right in Times Square. Stayed there many a times. We had our favorite driver that would take us wherever we wanted to go. Having dinners in Little Italy, going over to Chinatown. Can't do anything. And now these idiots are going to make it even worse. So I saw a video today that I'm going to play, and we're gonna talk about it here in a second. But it just pains me to see where New York is headed, where it is. It's only going to get worse. So I invite you, if you are here, or rather, if you are in New York City and you want to get away from this madness, come on down to South Florida. We're open. Be right back.
Your source for profit. Hear what you need to know to succeed in today's real estate market.
I play that little commercial for two reasons. One, if you're looking to relocate to South Florida from New York or New York City and you'd like to get into a home, I can show you how you can get into a home that is basically going to blow you away. What you've been paying to live in New York City is going to buy you an amazing piece of property down here. In addition, if you're looking to invest in the South Florida real estate market, we can talk to you about that as well. We're doing some amazing things, offering people 16% return on their money secured by real estate here in South Florida. And if you participate actually in a deal beyond a private mortgage, you can see that return go up to 20 or 30%. So let's get to this video today. This video is from Fox 5 in New York City. Let's begin playing it.
This is not good news to anybody who lives in the city. First of all, indoor dining here in the city as of today came to a complete halt, at least for now. And both the governor and the mayor, as you both just said, say this is likely just the beginning of even more restrictions.
What you should worry about is shutdown. Because if we do not change the trajectory, we could very well be headed to shutdown.
Governor.
Again, this is their only answer. Go ahead and put the mask on. Stay 6 feet away from everybody and don't go to work. Don't open your business. You're going to have to starve in order for us to get this thing fixed. But we were all just told, and we've seen that the vaccinations are coming. Not that I would take that shit, but do they not have faith in the vaccinations? Are you telling me in nearly a year you have come up with nothing to help people other than to tell them you can't do anything? We're going to have to shut you down. That's absurd. I hope you agree.
Cuomo warning New Yorkers again as the number of COVID-19 infections and hospitalizations in the state continues to climb. His concern is where we could be just a few weeks from now.
At this rate, if nothing happens, we could have 11,000 people in hospitals and 3,500 deceased.
We could have 11,000 people in hospitals. We could have 3,500 people deceased. What happens if you don't? What happens if the science that you're counting on, that is suspect at best, means that you're actually hurting more people? It doesn't make any sense.
Change the trajectory, we're going to go to shutdown, and then your business is going to close.
That means all non-essential businesses, including gyms, nail salons, and hair salons. Mayor de Blasio announced.
Okay, here we go again. The people who can least afford to be shut down, your service businesses, your gyms, your nail salons, which there are a ton of, your restaurants, things that basically move the cog forward in New York City. I mean, one of the allures of living in New York City is being able to eat anytime you want. If it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you want dinner, there's some place for you to go. If it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you'd like to go hear a band play, there's some place that you can go. Now? No, you can't do that in New York City. You can't do anything in New York City, and now they're about to make it even worse. It makes absolutely no sense.
The number of probable and confirmed cases on a 7-day average in the city is now more than 2,000. It needs to be below 550. Monique Stokes and LaToya Stuckey own Lux Barbershop.
All right, before we get into this couple that owns this business, notice the word they didn't say. They said cases are on the rise. Hospitalizations could be on the rise. Anybody dying? What's the historical number for deaths? How many people died in the past 12 months? How many people died in previous historical same periods of time? But, you know, it's almost like I want to rewind.
As well as a women's hair salon in Harlem, in the city is now more than 2,000. It needs to be below 550. Monique Stokes and
again, that's what I was trying to point out. It jumped off the page at me when I'm watching this video, that they're talking about cases and hospitalizations. Two of the most arbitrary numbers that you can pick in this coronavirus pandemic. Do you know why they're so arbitrary? Because death, you can actually count. You can actually count how many people died. Even if they're fudging information and saying people have succumbed from the coronavirus, you can actually know who they are because they're dead. It's unfortunate. But you're going to shut down arguably the biggest city in the world, the biggest attracting, the financial capital of America, because 550 cases or hospitalizations? Does that make any sense in a city of, 8, 9 million? In a state of 20, 21 million? You're going to shut down everything? Yeah, I'd begin packing and heading towards South Florida. Let's listen to what these ladies have to say.
LaToya Stuckey own Lux Barbershop as well as a women's hair salon in Harlem. The possibility of their businesses surviving another shutdown?
That's hard to say. Yeah. That's really, really hard to say. That could really, really, really be devastating.
Their two businesses service more than 110 clients per week.
Our biggest concern is for our employees. You know, they have a family, they need to survive just like we do. You know, it's going to hurt.
First of all,
it's going to hurt a lot. She said 110 clients per week. So I don't know if you've been to a black barbershop recently, but I've got to go in and get this stuff tightened up and a haircut as well. But you don't leave there without spending anywhere between $35 and $50 if you're a guy. If you're a woman, you're going to be looking at 3 figures. My sisters used to spend $100, $200 every time they went into a salon. So you're talking at minimum, these people are losing or going to lose $4,000 to $5,000 minimum per week. $4,000 to $5,000 minimum per week in arguably one of the most expensive real estate markets in the country, if not the world. How are these people going to be able to live and sustain themselves in New York City? Nobody's answering that. Hey, we just got to shut it down because we had 500 cases this week or today or whatever. But we're doing everything right. We're doing the social distancing thing. We've got the mask on. How are we supposed to afford to live if we have to shut down again? This makes absolutely zero sense. Who's going to pay these ladies the $4,000 or $5,000 per week that they're going to have to just live without? Who's going to pay their landlord the monthly rent for that space for their salon? Who's going to pay the mortgage or rent for somebody who can't work there anymore? Doesn't seem like people are thinking about that. Doesn't seem like that is really of any concern. And that's what's really sickening. These people are having their livelihoods absolutely destroyed. But, fortunately for them, there is an alternative. And an alternative is South Florida.
Your source for profit. Hear what you need to know to succeed in today's real estate market.
So let's take a second and listen to what de Blasio has to say about this. I'm sure he's got a ton that he wants to say he must really want to help New Yorkers out, right?
This is a constant conversation that I'm having with the governor, my team's having with the state all the time. And what is increasingly clear is that all forms of restrictions have to be on the table at this point.
All forms of restrictions. I don't care if I have to shut your business down. We have to consider everything. Have you considered what will happen to these people if they can't go to work, if they can't open their businesses? Have you considered that?
The governor's quote in the Times, I think, said it exactly right. At the current rate we're going, you have to be ready now for a full shutdown, a pause like we had back at the end of the spring.
Why is this clown still in office? Why are people not storming Gracie Mansion and pulling him out by his ears? He is saying that, quote, at this point, you got to be prepared to basically eat ramen for a while. Don't really care, but we've got to get this under control, whatever it is, whatever they're deciding to tell their constituents. They're just saying it. We're going to have to get it under control. We're assuming it's out of control because of data that they say, but because we say that it's out of control, you're not going to be able to eat or feed your family.
And that is, I think, increasingly necessary just to break the back of this second wave, to stop this second wave from growing, to stop it.
I can tell you what back you're really breaking. It's not you're not breaking the back of any second wave. You're breaking the back of your constituents.
From taking lives, to stop it from threatening our hospitals. So we're working carefully with the state. The state will ultimately make the decision. I certainly do agree that folks who don't need to be going into a workplace at this point should do as much as they can remotely.
Who doesn't need to go to work and earn money at Christmas time? Please show me the people who do not need to go to work, to make a living, to provide for their family during Christmas time. I don't think those people exist. And you're just arbitrarily saying, no Christmas for you. Sorry, stay home.
Again, I think there's the likelihood of more restrictions quite soon. So folks should start making those adjustments now.
What adjustments? How do you adjust to not having any money? How do you adjust to not being able to pay your employees? How do you adjust to not being able to pay your rent or your mortgage? What adjustment are you talking about? How are you supposed to adjust to going from having a Christmas tree with a lot of presents for the kids, waking up on Christmas morning and opening presents? And I don't know how you expect a parent to look at these kids and go, hey, we had to adjust. You see, things are kind of bad right now. We've got this corona. You tell that to your kids in your multi-million-dollar mansion.
Get ready to work remotely if they can. Hopefully we're talking about restrictions only for a matter of weeks, but we have to be preparing ourselves mentally and, practically for that possibility.
Okay, the mayor also.
Weeks. Oh my God. He just told people that they have to prepare themselves, however you do that, for weeks of not being able to work, for weeks of not being able to feed your family, for weeks of not being able to have a Christmas. These people are friggin' heartless. And what makes it worse is that the people who are hurt the most are the people who can't get up and leave New York City. You see, the people who can relocate to South Florida or wherever they want are the ones who have money. The rest are going to be just pushed into poverty. Now, I've got a couple of stories here that I want to go over, and I've got this one to show you. And it says Goldman Sachs plots Florida base for asset management and a blow to New York. And so on December 6th, basically Goldman Sachs, Elliott, Blackstone, and Citadel are planning an expansion into Florida. And it goes in here, Goldman Sachs is weighing plans for a new Florida hub to house one of its key divisions and another potential blow to New York's stature as the de facto home of the United States financial industry. These people, de Blasio and Cuomo, I don't know what their end all or be all plan here. I don't think it's to help New York. There's got to be something nefarious, but these people are getting the hell out, and they're not going to stick around. And I know we just went through an election, but when you read this, it says executives have been scouting office locations in South Florida, speaking with local officials, which I know to be true, and exploring tax advantages as they consider creating a base there for its asset arm. According to people with knowledge of the matter, the bank's success in operating remotely during the pandemic has persuaded members of the leadership team that they can move more roles out of the New York area to save money. I used to be a stockbroker a long time ago, and today with technology, no, I don't need to be in an office in New York City spending a ungodly amount on limos or transportation and getting my suits dry cleaned, having to wine and dine people in $300, $500 lunches and dinners. Don't need it. I can trade from home. Goldman Sachs knows that. And then they're telling people, by the way, you don't have to pay taxes in Florida. What? No, there's no income tax in Florida. Oh my God. So you're going to pay me to move to paradise, still do financial trading, work in flip-flops by the water, or stay in New York? Yeah, that's an easy decision. Real easy decision. And, it makes no sense why they wouldn't do it. I don't know if you guys have been down to Brickell, down in Miami lately, but Brickell is the next New York City. Go down to Brickell and just go walk through what they've done with that area. That is going to be the New York City. I had heard that after September 11th, 9/11, that there were some companies on Wall Street who had set up mirrored offices on Brickell, have been paying the rent, have been the infrastructure there since 9/11, just in case there was a break glass moment and they had to move. Well, guess what? This is a break glass moment. It is time for people to get the hell out of New York City. It's unfortunate some people won't be able to. But for those of you who do want to get out of New York City, and those of you who can afford to get out of New York City, we're here, baby. We're wide open. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have people fleeing New York City and helping the economy down here in South Florida. So let's go to one more. Oh no, I got two more articles we can talk about. So I've got this article here, and this one is just devastating. New York City's, this is today, by the way, today. New York City's mass COVID-19 exodus cost $34 billion in lost income. That's a B, billion with a B. 34 billion. Getting out of New York City. Not going to recover that. Once those people get down here in South Florida, they're not going back. I know. I left Connecticut, 20, 30 years ago. Got down here and went, nope, this is it. I'm done. I am staying here. Got down here in 1990, 1991. That was it. I'm done. I'm staying here. And so as you look at this article, and I hope you can read it, and I'll blow it up so you can see some stuff here. It says the max exodus from New York City amid the COVID-19 crisis has cost $34 billion in lost income. About 3.57 million people fled New York City between January 1st and December 7th of this year. Think about that. We're talking about a city of, 7, 8, 9 million, and 3.57 million people got out. It's devastating for that city. I don't know what Cuomo and de Blasio have planned. Are they trying to bankrupt New York so somebody can come in and buy cheap real estate? I have no idea. It makes absolutely no sense. When you read this, it's crazy. So they have people saying the exodus isn't as big as people have been talking about. Maybe the greater impact is how the population is changing and how the demographics are changing. Now here's where that nefarious plan may be shifting. Okay, you ready for this? 8,000 residents who bolted from Tribeca, they earned about $140,000 a year, high income people. The typical person moving into the area only makes $82,000. See that redistribution right there? I make $140,000. You're giving me a hard time. I'm getting the hell out. But more people are moving into New York City, and they only make $82,000 a year. I'm not sure if you understand what $82,000 per year in New York City equates to, but for most of that's poverty level. Where are you going to live on an $82,000 salary in New York City? I mean, a studio is going to cost you $2,500 or $3,000. They're moving in low-income people, or relatively low-income people. It's just insane. And so the article continues. Downstream, there are clear implications, noting the drop in income. This means residents can afford less in terms of mortgages, rent, restaurants, retail, and other consumer expenditures. As a result, stores that are more accustomed to catering to high-end clientele will likely lose market share to more affordable brands. Where Chanel and Ruth Chris once reigned, H&M and then Outback may find a new home. Boom. Now you know what's going on. Let's get rid of all these people who are making money, and let's redistribute that and let them re-inhabit New York City. That's some nefarious shit happening right there. I love that city. I've always loved going to New York. And now you're just saying that you don't care. Get these high income yuppies out of here. Let's bring in people who can't afford Chanel. These people can't afford to eat at 21. We don't need those high-priced restaurants. We don't need to have anybody going to Ruth Chris. You can have a hamburger at Burger King. You don't need to spend $300 on a dinner. You don't need any high-priced perfume. Go to one of these discount places that sells some sort of stuff for $5 for a bottle. That's what you need. I don't know if you visited New York back in the early days of this late 70s, 80s, when there was just prostitution and drugs, and 42nd Street was a hellhole. I don't know if you ever saw that, but you wouldn't want to spend much time there. The city got turned around and became a destination. And now it's no longer going to be a destination. People are leaving. People don't want to be there. And they're welcome to come down here to South Florida. Here, one last article I want to tell you about. So New York stats reveal massive New York City exodus amid the coronavirus and crime. And it says, back then, when this article was written, 300,000 New Yorkers have bailed from the Big Apple in the last 8 months. So it's just, there's no end to this. People are leaving New York. I got into an argument with this woman on LinkedIn who said it was overblown. And I started sending her these articles and she blocked me. Because they don't want to admit that the very policies that they embrace destroy cities. The people we showed in the video, that hairstylists, they're going to be destroyed. They're going to be completely devastated for no reason at all. And so what happens? You get the people that move down here to South Florida who are smart enough to see what's really going on. And here's our cases in South Florida. These are the actual amount of cases that you see here. You see here on the 9th, there was 11,000. That was a peak. There was 11,000 on the 10th. And then, yesterday or 2 days ago was 8,300. Oh my God. Look at those numbers. But what they don't show you in New York, they do show you in Florida. I have to move my picture because this is the deaths. That says 1. 1. Now that may change as more results come in, but you can clearly see 1, 7, 9, 22, 40. Back here was high 83. That's in a state of 20 million people, the entire state of Florida, from the Panhandle to Jacksonville down to the Keys. There was 1 death as of the time of this chart. That'll probably go up to 5 or 6, maybe 9. So if you're in New York, you have to understand that they're doing something to you up there, and I don't really know what they're doing, but it's not good. And it's time, if you can afford it, to get down here to South Florida and begin living life again. My wife just came in. You may have heard some noise. She came in from the beach and she had some sand in her shoes, and so she was just vacuuming because she spent, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3:30. She just got back from the beach. Beautiful day. Swimming in the ocean, having fun. I was with her on Saturday. We spent time at the beach. It's awesome. Who wouldn't want to live here? No income tax, a Rona that the governor here is meeting head on and showing people that there's nothing to fear, especially if you're under the age of 45. Some kids are in school. Disney is open. Universal is open. SeaWorld is open. Busch Gardens is open. There's stuff to do. Restaurants are open. And I love my restaurants, as you can tell. So if you want to come down to South Florida, enjoy life down here, come on down. Come on down. Get out of New York City. Get out of Point North. Get out of Chicago. Wherever you're watching this from. If the word lockdown is even spoken, if they're even talking about lockdowns, come on down to South Florida. We're open, and we'd love to have you.
Your source for profit. Hear what you need to know to succeed in today's real estate market.